Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are checking me out for the very first time and you're interested in becoming a model, you definitely want to consider subscribing because I make awesome content on a weekly basis that you guys are going to love. So in this video, I want to give you guys 5 tips for modeling while you're in college. Some of these tips are going to answer your questions on how to get scouted and how to prioritize your school schedule with your modeling career. All right, so you're a college student and maybe you just signed a modeling contract. Congratulations. So here's the thing, you definitely want to let your agency know what your schedule is and be honest about it. If you have a part-time job, if you have school schedule, you definitely want to be honest about that and let them know that you're still in school, because this is one of the questions that an agency usually asks a model during the interview, is that they want to know what your schedule is like and if you can go to castings on auditions without any hiccups. So one major tip for a scenario like this is to put your book out dates early. And if you guys don't know what a book out date is, a book out date is the days that you're not available for work. So if you already know what your school schedule is, you know when your exams are, your midterms, any of those major assignments or papers that you have to turn in, go ahead and book out those dates with your agency. Most agencies now use platforms like, for example, my agency uses a platform called My Agency Pad. So I can just go in there and type in my book out dates, and in that way my agency knows, hey, Francis is unavailable for work during these dates. So you can do the same, or if your agency doesn't have that kind of platform, you can just email them or call them, shoot them a text, let them know like, hey, I'm not going to be available from this date to this date because I have exams and I need to focus on my studies. So now you want to make sure that you put in your book out dates very early in the semester, so that way your agency knows way ahead of time that you're definitely unavailable for castings or for work, so they will stop submitting you during that week or during those days. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that you might have to miss classes on some days to go to castings. Now, this is normal. So it's very important to have almost a near perfect attendance record, because sometimes you might need your professor to understand like, hey, I really want to be in class right now, but I have to go do this casting, or I have to go do this, or I'm going to be a little bit late for class. So having a perfect attendance record is going to help you build your reputation with your professor. So that way they don't downgrade you when you are a little bit late for class because you had to run to a casting, or when you had to leave class early to go to a casting, they don't hold that against you. So try to have that conversation with your professor if you need to. But again, it always helps to have a perfect attendance record. So that way, when you do need to miss 1 day or 2 days for a casting for a job, or if you do need to leave a little bit early, your professor will be more understanding and more willing to cut your slack. So to recap that, have a conversation with your agent, let them know what your school schedule is, put in your book out dates very early in the semester, so that way your agency knows that you're definitely unavailable on these days for work. Also try to have a perfect attendance record at school with your classes, so that way your professor can cut your slack if you do really need to miss 1 day or leave early or come late or whatever. And if you can, try to have a conversation with your professor and let them know, hey, my work schedule is really busy and I might have to miss a day or two, but I'm gonna make it up, etc. Now, my next tip is to try to study while you're on set. So a lot of times when you do fashion shows or when you do photo shoots and things like that, a lot of times you're just sitting around for hours and hours while the show comes together, or while the lighting is being set up, or they're testing, they're doing test shots or whatnot. So a lot of time you're just sitting down there idle. And this is time that you guys could bring your books with you. For instance, most of the time when I've done runway shows, usually they're about a full day. Like you're there for the whole day. You're doing hair and makeup, you're trying on the clothing and doing last minute adjustments. And then you're waiting for the actual show to start, and then you're waiting for the audience to come in and fill out the seats. And then maybe there's some speeches or other performances that happens before the actual show. So you might spend 8 hours total on the fashion show, but you're actually working for maybe 30 minutes to an hour. So try to bring your books with you guys and bring your assignments if you can, so that way you can stay busy while you're on set. My next tip is sort of like a general tip. You definitely want to beef up your social media accounts, especially Instagram. beef up your Instagram account, because this is a way that a lot of models are getting scouted. And if you're in college, you definitely want to beef that up as well, because this will open up many doors for you guys to potentially get seen by some of the top agencies. Now, my next tip, and this will become more relevant after the pandemic and we can return to some sort of normalcy, is to try to attend as many school events as possible, especially the major ones. For instance, Anukiai, who's one of the top models this year and last year, she was actually discovered by Model Scouts at a homecoming event. So you guys definitely try to attend the major school events, because sometimes there are scouts walking through these events trying to look for models, because you guys are at the right demographic, you're at the right age to become a model and to succeed. So talent scouts definitely do pay attention, and they definitely do try to get out to these types of events. So make sure you try to get out there to be seen, and also dress fashionable. That always helps. Now, my last tip is to try to keep a flexible schedule. So if you're going to school and then you're also working a part-time job, it's going to be very difficult for you to also balance a modeling career. But if you have a part-time job that maybe allows a little bit of a flexibility, then you can still work in a modeling career, because you should be able to call off or call in sick on the day that you have a model booking. So for example, when I was in college, I had a part-time job working retail, and I was also modeling at the same time. So a lot of times I had to call off sick at my part-time job when I had a model booking. So in terms of priorities, you guys should always prioritize your school, because your education lasts forever. Then you prioritize your modeling career, because you're going to model for a while and you can make a lot of money, but you're not going to model forever. And then your lowest priority should be your part-time job, because you're not going to work there forever. It's only temporary. And modeling provides a much more better opportunity and more exposure. And you can make a lot more money quicker than you can at your part-time job. So that's how you guys should approach it. Always prioritize your school, and remember to take your assignments and take your textbooks to set. So that way you guys can study on set and get some work done and be productive while you're waiting for the cameras and everything to get set up. And finally, be honest about your schedule to your professors and to your agency, and try to have a good reputation with them, so that way they're more understanding when you cannot make a job or you can't make it to class because you have a booking. So these are some tips that should help you guys. If you guys have specific questions on how to become a model, I've made tons of videos on this channel about how to get your modeling career started. But if there's any other questions that maybe I haven't covered, feel free to drop them in the comment box down below. As always, don't forget to sub. I really appreciate you guys. Hit me with a thumbs up if you like this video or learned anything new. I'll see you guys in my next one.